Today we're gonna be going over my 2022 art goals, what I've accomplished, what I haven't, how this has been going. So to give you a bit of a backstory, I start a new bullet journal every year at the beginning of the year, and that's where I do my art goals, my life goals, whatever. And this past year, I did a really big list of art goals that I wanted to achieve throughout the year. But the thing is, I never look at them after writing them down. So I kind of have an idea of what they are. Same with my life goals. I kind of have an idea what they are, but I just let life take its course. And I'm not actively like trying to do everything and oh my God, I missed one and what now? So I just kind of let things go. So I have no idea what is written in this. I really don't know. I haven't looked at this since the beginning of the year, since January. And it's just gonna be a mystery from now on. And so I wanted to do this with you guys, and this is gonna be like new for you, new for me kind of thing. I don't know, I'm not too nervous about this, but I do wonder like what is in here, what I have achieved or not, because I know I didn't do as much art as I wanted to this year, and you know, that's a whole thing. Like, but this year I really wanted to practice certain things. I wanted to also get back into painting and everything, but I just didn't. It didn't feel like it didn't happen. I did do digital art. I know I'd like delved a bit more into digital art, but still not as much as I wanted to. And I don't know, I've been having this like ins and outs of art block throughout the year, so it was kind of hard even to produce content for YouTube and everything. So I'm kind of curious how many of these I got. I also don't know how many there are, so let's do like a checklist. I don't know, let's just count how many art goals there are and how many of those I achieved, because I kind of want to know, right? So let's dig into the bullet journal. So this is like right in the first pages. This is really hard because so I'm gonna kind of flip it to you guys, but I don't want you to read it because this has my life goals too. So this is the spread, okay? And on this side, I have my life goals. I'm not gonna look that side. I'm not gonna look at that side because, God, I already like kind of looked. Because I still wanna like do that on my own privately, okay? The day that I go into my next bullet journal. But today I want to like go over like this side that has the art goals. So I'm gonna count how many little points we have, and then yeah, 13 art goals. And I don't know how well this is gonna go, but we'll see. First art goal was to learn concept art, buildings, nature, and fantasy. Now I don't think I actually achieved this. I kind of delved into a little bit of concept art, like as in like practicing scenery and stuff, but like backgrounds and stuff, but I haven't gotten into like the actual concept art, making my own fantasy worlds and everything. So I kind of think I didn't do this one, and it's really hard because this was like I know this was my main goal this year, was to get more into digital art and do this like side of digital art, because this is like the side I want to delve into digitally. So yeah. Number 2 is practice scenery with characters, so backgrounds. I did practice scenery, just not with characters. So I don't think I achieved this one. I'm gonna give myself a half point here because I did practice scenery. Okay, I even made a challenge out of it. If you haven't seen it, I plastered it all over Instagram, and I also have a video on it of my like 30-day like environment challenge. So I did practice, but so I'm gonna give myself a half point. I'm gonna be lenient with myself. Find my digital art style, portrait/characters. I did not do this because I kind of stopped doing portraits. So I started a 100 heads challenge, but only with portraits digitally, right? And I did I did 3.5. I just wasn't having fun with it. It was more of an obligation than me like enjoying myself, so I kind of didn't go forward with that. I did find a really nice style on my second portrait, but it was really hard to do that on my third. So I know the style I want to achieve. I did not follow up with that, and I did not like, you know, continue with it. So I'm not gonna count this as done. On this subject is also learn how to render digitally, which like the characters. I'd give myself half a point for this one because I didn't learn how I wanted to do it. I'm still not great at it. So I have days. I have times where I can do it. I have times where I can't. So I'm gonna give myself a half a point on this one. give myself something. Figure out simple and more rendered styles. So this was because I kind of am in between, and this is the problem with digital art for me, is because I'm in between styles. I really like the more simplistic pictures to do Ghibli backgrounds. Love those, love those. But then I also like the really extremely rendered ones. And when I try to point something in between, it always looks really crappy. And when I tried the more simplistic, it looks really bad. I really dislike it. I hate looking at my art with line art. I hate my art with line art when it's painted. So it's just really hard for me to figure that out. And I did try, but I still have a really long way to go. So I don't think I achieved this, because it does say figure out simple and more rendered styles. So I don't think I achieved this one. God, this is going really well. Okay, become more fluid with my figure drawings. 100% I did become more fluid with them. I do think I still want to practice them more, but I did become a lot more fluid. So I have my anatomy sketchbook. I also finished it this year, and I also did a tour. I also have like this block of paper where I just do pencil anatomy sketches that are a lot more looser than they were in that anatomy sketchbook. In there, I actually have really fluid figure studies. So I do believe I achieved this one. I am gonna give myself this one because I did achieve more fluid figure studies. I just don't always apply them, but I did achieve that. I do know how to do that. Learn how to mix or paint skin tones. Not so much. Still have a lot of difficulty with this. I want to practice this more on digital art, but I also want to do it with traditional art. I have a harder time mixing skin tones with actual paints. So I did not do this because, again, I also did barely painted this year, so yeah, I didn't do this one. Learn how to apply color theory to paintings. Here's the thing, I'm not 100% on this. Color theory takes years, but I do know how to do this. I learned it in an art course that I'm taking, and also I applied it to my pomegranate painting, oil painting, that I did. I was like mid-painting, I thought, what is the opposite of red? It's blue. The shadows will be blue. I'll just add blue to the red and it'll make a really nice shadow. It was perfection. So I do think like I'm better at achieving that and looking like into the colors when I'm doing a painting, like what's the opposite of this, like whatever. So I think I'm becoming better. I do have to be more conscious about it, but I'd give myself this one, right? I have learned how to apply it, because I always had a really hard time with color theory because I know the theory of it. I don't know how to apply theory into practice. So to me, that was a difficulty. And so I do think I achieved that this year. 100%? No, undoubtedly not 100%. But I think I understand it better now. I just have to keep reminding myself to put it in practice. That's the big issue. And I think that when I do start putting that more into practice, it's going to be a lot easier for me to like actually like use it more. So create more realistic portraits traditionally. Now, I kind of did do this in pencil on my sketchbook. I did do this a little bit on my sketchbook. I did practice a bit more on my sketchbook and I have quite a few drawings where they're a bit more realistic than usual. Did I take it to the level that I think I was trying to achieve with this thing? Not really. But I would still give myself this one because I did try to, right? I did practice and did intentionally try to. So there's that. I really should look at these lists before the year ends because, dear Lord, I did none of these. Learn how to draw clothing, folds, shadows, etc. I did practice once or twice. I did not learn how to do it. Not actively, no. So I guess this one doesn't count. Create more detailed art pieces and bigger artwork. I definitely did not do this, and it's definitely something I want to do, but it was again with the whole thing of like being a little bit art blocked, not feeling like painting, trying to do digital art, failing at digital art, and it's been like this the entire year, and it wasn't a very productive year painting wise. I think I was a lot more productive a few months into like 2021 than I was productive this entire year when it comes to painting. I do think that the choice of sketchbook that I did was also like at fault here, because I chose to have like a sketchbook that would allow me to really practice certain objects. I wanted to practice with pen and stuff like that and just be really simple drawings. I didn't want it to be very like painted and stuff. sketchbook. So I think that maybe that's why I was like wasn't as motivated, because last year I had my gray tone sketchbook and I was like, yes, I'm gonna paint in this because the paint just looks amazing on gray paper. So I think that maybe that was like the reason why it wasn't as easy for me to do it this year, because my sketchbook sucks. And I was like, yeah, but that's the point, I want to do finished pieces, so I want to do them in like paper and stuff like that, but I didn't actually get around to do it, so it is what it is. Practice with traditional art, like when it comes to like bigger pieces and stuff, did not do this. And learn composition and perspective. I did learn perspective though. I'll give myself this one. Composition, I think it's something that comes with time and with intention, but I did learn perspective. Obviously I'm not like an expert in perspective, but I do know how it works. I do know the various types of perspective. I do know how to apply it to a sketch and all of that. So I do think like I did learn. I still have a lot to learn regarding that, also because like it's really a practice makes perfect kind of thing, but I did achieve that. So these were my 2022 art goals. This was depressing, but it's actually fine. I have to like understand that like this year wasn't easy for me in regards to a lot of things, and there was a part of this year where I was really busy, too busy, with a job that I got at the time, and I just didn't have time to do anything, or like mental capacity to do anything. And it, you know, I have to, you see me convincing you and trying to convince myself of the same, okay, but I have, like, we have to be a bit more patient with ourselves, right? And even though I wish I had achieved more, like I really see people being like, these are the paintings I completed this year. I don't have a single painting I completed this year. Well, I have the pomegranates, I have the cat that I destroyed, and I don't have much more. Even though I was supposed to have had a ton of stuff that I achieved this year. But it was a hard year, honestly. Our block was definitely here. I was trying to do 300 things at the time, and I always like leave things to the other day, and that day never arrives. So, you know, it just is what it is. I am eager to, you know, sit down and write my 2023 art goals, and, you know, hopefully I will be able to complete them. I do think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to either make a list or maybe look at this list middle of the year when it comes to my art goals, just so I can have an idea of like, what is it that I still have to achieve, that I want to achieve, right? Not my life goals, but my art goals. I think I'm gonna do that, because it's definitely like a lot of these things I just completely forgot they were a goal for this year. I completely forgot about them. A lot of them I did dabble in. I didn't conquer them, but I did dabble in them, so it's not that bad. But still, there was a lot of things I just didn't remember. The folds thing, the clothing thing, I did not remember I wanted to do that, like, at all. You know, and sometimes like you define these things like beginning of the year and you're like, this is what I want to do this year, but then you're halfway through the year and you're like, I don't give a fuck about these things anymore. So it's just, you know, it is what it is. These things happen, and I'm just eager to get a fresh start. That's the beauty of starting a new year. You kind of feel like you have a fresh start at things. So I'm definitely gonna like dedicate more time to these things this year. So yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you have an amazing new year. And I'll see you beginning of next year with my new bullet journal. I'm gonna like, I always do like my bullet journal setup at the beginning of the year. And it kind of stays the same. I also do a flip through of this, like the previous bullet journal, which is gonna be this one. I'm actually sizing up pretty much on this year's bullet journal, but yeah, it is what it is. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider giving a thumbs up and subscribing. And also let me know what were your 2022 art goals and which ones did you achieve, which ones haven't you, like how was this year art-wise for you? Let me know in the comments down below, okay? I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!